Hello, everybody. Rihanna M. Hill here, having breakfast with the wonderful Kimberlee from Hawaii.
Hello.
Hello. Kimberlee is a financial service agency owner converted into a digital marketing expert, agency owner, and strategist. We will write the content that sells or help business owners figure out how to do it themselves. So, really excited to have you on here today.
Thanks for
How are
having me. I'm great. It's a nice, cool morning here in Hawaii.
Absolutely. It gets really nice about this time of year, if I remember correctly.
You get the rainy days, then you get the sun peeking through. It makes it really special.
Absolutely. Well, let's go ahead and kick this off with a very important question. How do you like your pancakes?
Can I confess? I really like waffles more than pancakes. Is that okay?
Oh, yeah. Think about it. Waffles are just hashtag pancakes.
Exactly. I mean, it's the same batter. You're just kind of creating a little bowl for your syrup and strawberries and blueberries. So,
I appreciate that. Waffles are definitely considered part of the pancake family.
okay, I appreciate that.
Sure. Well, go ahead and tell us a little bit about who you are. What is it that makes you you?
Sure. So as you said, I'm kind of a reformed financial advisor. I used to own a state farm agency as well, but have always been more into the sales and marketing component of things. I love the creativity of that. So I have my own content marketing company. Been doing this for about 19 years now. So I've seen the evolution of the internet and how marketing has changed and adapted over time over the years as the internet's become bigger. So it's been a fun journey. Me personally, I'm a single mom. I'm born and raised in Hawaii. Came back here about 3 years ago after being stuck on the mainland for about 18 years. So nice to be home, nice to be closer to family and enjoying the weather out here.
Definitely. That's always a really good feeling. Well, please tell us a little bit more about your business.
Sure. So Sensible Copy and Consulting is, as I said, it's a content marketing company. We're the company that writes your blogs, your long form content, the white papers, with the number one goal of getting you number one on Google searches. That's what gets the organic traffic. We couple that with some geofencing or some ad campaigns to get you that faucet turned on real quick. But we want that long-term organic traffic to be what really builds your expertise, builds your authority, helps you develop a following over time and be seen as the number one in your field. So that's what we do.
Very cool. Those are all very helpful and useful things for businesses.
Absolutely.
Well, it sounds like you started off on a little bit of a different path. Can you tell us a little bit more about how this began?
Sure. So I call it, quite frankly, just a disproportionate stubbornness. I talk about it in a book I just released, Stay-at-Home Single Mom. What happened is I got married and I was a stay-at-home mom. I had left the financial services industry. And got into writing sort of as a side thing, just something that was keeping me busy. And then I got divorced. And when I got divorced, I stubbornly said, no, I'm not going to go back into financial services. I want to still be at home with my toddler. And how am I going to make this happen? Wait, I'm writing. That's what I want to do. How do I couple this with my life goals? So that's kind of how it all started, was just this pure resolve to figure out how to make a living while still raising my son and literally building a business with a toddler on my lap.
Absolutely. I think a lot of people can really, really relate to that. Children are a great motivation to want to stay home.
Exactly, exactly.
Wonderful. So, as a business owner, what has been your favorite memory so far?
My favorite memory, I think, really it was when the book came out. It took about 2 years for me to go through the process. The writing of it wasn't so much the difficult part. It was um, picking up an editor, picking up a publishing house that actually picked up the book, and then going through the process of really how deep do I want to go into my own story? Because, it's one thing to always tout your successes, but if you're going to help other people, you kind of have to dive into your failures. And doing that and finally coming out with the book this past fall, and getting the feedback from people, I think was really kind of that pinnacle for me of, okay, there's merit in my career. I'm good at what I do, but there's also a story there that can help others, can help single moms, can help stay-at-home moms, which is really the next path for me, which is the next step for me, is to really start exploring that more.
Definitely. I think that's a journey that a lot of people go through, and it can be very hard to face our failures, but a very important step to take.
Absolutely. It's gut-wrenching at times, but once you get through it and people say, "Oh man, that was inspiring," it's humbling. There's a certain level of pride with it, but it's more of it's a humbling experience.
Absolutely. Especially when you can get that word out there and hear back from other people like, yes, I've been there too.
Exactly. Exactly.
Wonderful. Well, in that same vein, what does being a business owner mean to you?
I think it still goes back to the roots of being able to control my own destiny. It's and when I was in financial services, and pretty much everything in my career, I've always been in sales. I've always been kind of a commission-based career person. And so when you go into business for yourself, you control your own destiny. You're the person who says, do I want to get bigger? Do I want to make more? Or do I want to take a break this summer and just enjoy time with the kids? And for me, it's once I figured out how to align my goals and my priorities together with my business, it became a lot easier for me to set those goals and go after them, and just really control my own destiny moving forward.
Wonderful. I think that's something definitely a lot of people can relate to.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm sitting here nodding my head. Yep, this sounds, I agree.
Well, and I think I think you're seeing more and more of it, and there's so many more opportunities in the marketplace for people to control their own destiny. The internet, beyond just writing, whether it's a virtual assistant, whether it's digital marketing in the other capacities, not necessarily the writing that I do, graphic design, web design, all of that. There's just so many opportunities for people who have the discipline to stay at home and do what they need to do to get the clients satisfied. But if you do that, you can be anywhere in the world and making the income that you want to make. It doesn't matter.
Absolutely. It's a conversation we've had a lot in the military spouse communities, as the internet has really opened up a whole new ability for this population that otherwise wouldn't have access to a lot of these professional jobs to be able to have that. So definitely agree with you there. It's a wonderful thing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It transports with you.
Absolutely. Perfect. So let's dive a little bit now into some of the sticky stuff. What are some of the major challenges that you've faced in your business that you've had to overcome, or perhaps you're still working on?
I think early on, and to a certain degree, whenever you do something new, there's that imposter syndrome that comes into play, especially when you're the lone person sitting in your living room doing the work yourself, and you get crickets from the client for whatever reason. And I think I found over time that the clients are busy. This isn't their number one priority. They're doing the widget making, and you have to start to develop a confidence just in the process of when you're working remotely, when you're working by yourself. More recently, I think the biggest struggle has been scaling, because I'm bringing more people in, I'm bringing a team in, getting more clients, raising the rates, and you have to do that. It's not as easy as it sounds of, oh, I'll just bring in 10 writers and we'll be able to have XYZ. There's this balance of, do I have writers waiting to write and I don't have the clients, or do I have clients and I don't have enough writers? Are the writers able to deliver what I would? So there's that whole balance in scaling that I think I've struggled a little bit here in the last couple of years, and trying to figure that piece of the equation out to get to the next level.
Definitely. I completely agree with that. It seems to be that scaling is a very common challenge of bringing other people onto something you've created.
Especially when you're working in a creative environment, because you have your way of doing it, and if that's what clients expect, but you're now passing that on to somebody else, it might have a little bit of a different tone, a different feel. And a lot of what we do is subjective, so you need that client buy-in to that tone and that feel and that overall voice that's coming with it. So it gets a little tricky.
Yeah, definitely. I can appreciate that. Well, another fun question. How's your marketing going?
Well, as a content marketing company, I'm fortunate. I've been in the industry long enough that a lot of my innate clients come through referrals. But at the same time, as a professional marketer, I'm always testing different things. So we're playing with different ideas and different strategies, which has its successes and has its failures. And I think it's, as you see new things coming into the market, where last year chatbots, everybody needed to have a chatbot, and how does that fill into your funnel, from the content marketing strategy standpoint? for me and for my clients. It's okay, how do these Google algorithms change what we do? And with everybody doing voice search and Siri reading the answer to you, how does that now convert into a selling point for our clients? Yes, we still want to have that snippet. We want to be that read back, but that's not necessarily converting into a sale. How do we get that next level? How do we continue to build that organic traffic that's going to sell something?
Sure, yeah. A lot of difference between that quick, like what's going to help us out in the next few weeks versus, okay, this is going to be something that's more of a 5-year strategy.
Exactly. And most of my clients understand that we're in it for the long haul, but you still need to, as things change, evolve and explain it to them so that you're able to kind of keep reaping the rewards of all of the years of work that you've been putting in.
Absolutely. Flashback to the joys of trying to explain that Facebook is no longer just a college student application.
Pretty much, exactly,
Yep.
exactly. It is the core place it's the core marketplace. I mean, it's, it's taken over from Craigslist, from, forums, it's pretty much become the central point for everything that you start with. Even with content marketing, we're not necessarily posting long blogs on Facebook, but we're going to put the link to it there. We're going to, we're going to try to get our viral shares there. So it's definitely, you have to evolve with time.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, let's go ahead and shift gears a little bit here and talk about first jobs. What were some of the first jobs you had, and how have those helped you?
So my first job was actually teaching tennis. So I played competitive tennis growing up, and so my first job was working at the local club teaching the Rugrats. So I teach all the little kids, which I think if there's one major takeaway from that, it's patience. That you need to, there's the patience in the process. And from there through college and my early career, again, I was in sales in one way or another, telemarketing products like Septic Helper, like really exciting stuff, producing a local television show, and then financial services. There was always this sales component with what I've done. And I think for me, translating that into writing has become one of the most valuable things that I can do, because I'm thinking like a salesperson through the entire process. And most writers, at least when they first start out, don't have that background. They have to learn the sales process to do that. So I think if I look back at kind of, the two lives I've had, the sales life and then the writing life, the sales life allows me to be a better writer because I think about the process of a business.
Definitely. That sales process is certainly something I've noticed that can be a very difficult thing to translate online as well.
Absolutely, yeah. It's step by step, and you have to understand that's where targeting your demographic is, right? Do they have a real good awareness of this product or this service yet? Do they even know they need you yet? The person who knows they need you and wants that service, that they're the pretty easy sell. But that's a small part of your marketing campaign. You need to get the bigger, higher end people, or people who are higher in the funnel, who don't necessarily know they need you. They might know they need something, but they're not quite sure what. And it's finding a way to get them into that sales funnel and that sales cycle that gives you that long-term result.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, knowing what you know now, what kind of advice would you give someone who's just getting started? Perhaps something that you wish you knew when you got started.
I think it's get a good foundation of and a good mentor. I think that imposter syndrome can be greatly reduced when you have somebody giving you that feedback of, this is how things normally go. You're not experiencing anything different than what anybody else is experiencing. When you go into a new niche, 10 years from now, you could have 10 years of experience, but you'll still feel like an imposter, at that point, because it's brand new to you. So I think, getting a good foundation for what you want to do, really setting the tone with your priorities, with your goals, and then finding a mentor that is really there to give you that feedback when you're having a good day. Is, what should I do next? How do I capitalize on this? When you're having a bad day, how do I get past this? Do I do something in my business, or do I just take the day off? Kind of those little feedback scenarios, I think are more valuable than we give them credit, especially when you don't have somebody in an office next to you going, oh no, good job today. Or, you know what, why don't you take take an extra coffee break right now. Just take 10 minutes. When you're in an office, you have that type of regular feedback. When you're working for yourself, it's not necessarily there. So you need to bring that in.
That's great advice. Absolutely wonderful to point out.
Thanks.
All right. Well, what are some of the things that inspire you to be your best self?
So cliche, it's my kid. My son's 17 now, but and I say it's cliche, but it's not. So in developing the whole brand and the courses and coaching program around Stay at Home Single Mom, the book, um, I came up with a hashtag called Inspire to be Inspired, meaning that we have to inspire others in order to inspire ourselves. And that sort of came about. My son's into these really awesome, unique activities. When he was younger, we were in an airport reworking old warbirds all the time. And I've been up doing loop-de-loops, and he, since the age of 8, has been in all kinds of crazy airplanes. And so I have this whole series of pictures there. And then he got into rock climbing, and I have all these series of pictures there. And what I realized one day as looking at these pictures is they were like the posters you see of, confidence, of somebody up at the top of a mountain and success and all. I'm like, oh my gosh, we have our own series of little like inspirational posters that are ours. And when I tell people about what we do and whatnot, they find it so inspiring and, interesting and intriguing. And it's just something I do because I want to be involved in what my son's interested in. I'm actually afraid of heights. So, to go and push yourself beyond something because you have a motivation bigger than yourself is really cool. So I like to remind people that you have to inspire others in order to inspire yourself.
Oh, I love that. That's such a good feeling.
Thanks.
Perfect. Well, is there anything else you wish I would have asked you today?
Well, you did ask me about the weather in Hawaii, but no, I think it's I love being able to talk to people about, setting their goals and setting their priorities, because I think once people get that honed in, the magic starts to happen. You stop fighting yourself when, your goal and your priority meet, because we all want more money. We all want more time with our family. We all, everybody says all of that, but not everybody achieves it. And I think that's because our goals and our priorities don't align well together. And when we do that, it just makes life so much easier, and you start to feel what they call that flow, and it just seems to happen. So I always love being able to talk about that. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you for sharing. Well, can you tell everybody listening today where to find you?
Where to find me? You can find me on Facebook at KimberleeVincent.com or Kimberlee D. Leonard, or Kimberlee D. Leonard on Facebook. Or you can find the Sensible Copy at www.sensiblecopy.com. So that's our content marketing company.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate it.
Thank you. I appreciate the time.
And thank you so much to our listeners. This has been Breakfast with Kimberlee of Digital Footprint Media. Have a wonderful rest of your day.